All right, let's get ready to dive into some serious March Madness.
Yeah, some March Madness.
We're going to break down how this whole tournament thing works, why it sends the whole country into a frenzy, and what's new this year with this 2025 format.
Yeah, we're going to break down some key points from that 2025 document that you sent over. Should be interesting.
Absolutely. No, you're obviously familiar with the basics.
Right.
Single elimination, 68 teams, all that jazz.
All that.
But have you ever thought about what makes that single elimination format so strategically different?
Oh, yeah, it's true. Every game has that win or go home intensity.
Right.
Coaches have to balance playing their best players, with the risk of fatigue, even injury.
Oh, yeah.
One bad game, one lucky bounce for the other team, and boom, it's over.
Talk about pressure.
Yeah.
And speaking of pressure, imagine being on that selection committee.
Oh, yeah.
Choosing which teams get to live that dream.
Right.
And which ones get left out in the cold.
Oh, the selection process. That's where it gets really interesting.
I bet.
It's not just about wins and losses.
Right.
They consider things like strength of schedule, which is obvious enough.
Yeah.
But also more nuanced factors like performance against top-ranked teams.
Okay.
And even the RPI.
RPI.
Yeah.
Refresh my memory on that one.
Right. RPI stands for Ratings Percentage Index.
Okay.
Essentially, it tries to mathematically assess a team's strength
Okay.
based on their record, their opponent's records, and their opponent's records.
So a team that dominates a weak conference might not have as high an RPI as a team with a few more losses, but they play in a tougher conference.
Exactly. The committee is trying to create a level playing field.
Right.
But it's not without controversy.
I bet.
There are always debates about which teams deserve those at-large bids,
Oh, yeah.
especially when you have teams with similar records but different strengths of schedule.
I bet. And Selection Sunday must be like a national nail-biter.
Oh, it is?
All those hopes riding on a committee's decision.
Teams and fans alike wait with bated breath to see if they made the cut.
Right.
It's a huge media event with everyone speculating and debating right up until the final bracket is revealed.
Speaking of brackets, let's dive into how those are created.
Okay.
You've got the seeding process, ranking teams from 1 to 68.
Right.
And then dividing them into those 4 regions, East, West, South, and Midwest.
Right. And seeding is about more than just ranking teams.
Right.
It's about strategically matching them up in a way that, in theory, allows the strongest teams to advance.
Right.
Of course, that's where the madness comes in.
Upsets galore.
Yes.
A 16 seed beating a 1 seed. It's rare, but it's happened.
It has.
And the possibility is always there, which makes every game exciting.
Right.
But it throws a wrench into those perfectly crafted brackets.
It does. And it's part of what makes March Madness so captivating.
Right.
You never know what's going to happen. And even the experts can be caught off guard.
I bet.
It's a tournament that rewards those who embrace the chaos.
And it's not just the fans who are feeling the heat.
Right.
Imagine you're a coach knowing that your team's seeding and therefore their path in the tournament can change in an instant.
Absolutely. A higher seed might feel a pressure to live up to their ranking.
Yeah, to dominate
those early round matchups.
Right.
But they also have to be careful not to overlook their opponents or risk an early exit.
And a lower-seeded team might have that nothing-to-lose attitude.
That's right.
Which can make them super dangerous.
A lower seed often plays with a certain fearlessness.
Yeah.
And that can catch a higher-seeded team off guard.
Right.
Plus, a well-coached lower seed might have a specific game plan designed to exploit the weaknesses of a higher-ranked opponent.
So it's a delicate balancing act for both sides.
It is.
High seeds need to stay sharp.
It's sharp.
Lower seeds need to capitalize on any opportunity they get.
Yeah, any opportunity.
And of course, there's always the Cinderella factor.
Oh, absolutely. March Madness is known for its Cinderella stories. Those underdog teams that defy the odds and make deep runs into the tournament.
Everyone loves those.
They capture the imagination and inspire us to believe that anything is possible.
Speaking of captivating,
let's
take a quick look at how this tournament has evolved.
Okay.
This document mentions that the first one was way back in, 1939.
It really was. Back then, it was only 8 teams vying for the title.
Can you imagine 8 teams?
Yeah.
The tournament has come a long way since then.
It really has.
Growing alongside the popularity of college basketball itself. And the name March Madness itself has a fascinating history.
It does.
It was first used in 1939
Right.
by Henry Porter, an Illinois high school official.
Right.
But it didn't really become popular until CBS announcer Brent Musburger started using it during the 1982 tournament.
That's right. It just stuck after that, capturing the energy and unpredictable nature of the tournament perfectly.
And with the expansion of the tournament over the years, the madness has only intensified. We went from 8 teams to 16, then to 64, and now to the 68 we have today,
Right.
with the first 4 adding even more excitement to those early rounds.
Exactly.
It's a tournament with a rich history and a tradition of delivering those unforgettable moments.
It is.
But March Madness isn't just about what happens on the court.
Right, it becomes a national phenomenon.
Yeah.
A cultural event that transcends the sport itself.
Exactly, and that's where we're heading next.
All right.
Stay tuned as we explore the wider world of March Madness
Okay.
and how it impacts everything from office productivity to snack food sales.
Ooh, this is where it gets interesting.
What's up?
You ready to dive in?
It's about to get wild.
All right, let's jump back into that selection process.
Okay.
Because I know you're curious about how the committee actually weighs all those factors we talked about.
I am. It seems like such a tough job
Yeah.
trying to compare teams from all over the country,
Right.
playing in different conferences against different competition.
You're telling me it's like comparing apples and oranges sometimes.
Right.
That's why they have this group of experts.
Yeah.
Athletic directors and conference commissioners.
Right,
People who live and breathe college basketball.
I can only imagine the debates that go on behind closed doors.
Phew.
So, spill the tea. What are some examples of those controversial selections or those snub teams that everyone talks about?
Oh, there are tons of examples.
Yeah.
Remember a few years back when that mid-major team, the one with the incredible record,
Yeah.
didn't get a bid because their strength of schedule was considered weak?
Right.
Fans were outraged.
Yeah, I remember that. They
Yeah.
argued that they deserved a shot, that
Yeah.
they could have competed with anyone.
Right.
But then you had some analysts saying, well, look at their weak conference schedule.
Right.
Do we really think they could handle the intensity of tournament play?
Exactly. And that's the dilemma the committee faces all the time.
Yeah.
How much weight do you give to wins and losses versus strength of schedule?
Mm.
What about those eye test factors? Like how a team performs down the stretch or in their conference tournament?
I'm starting to understand just how complex this process really is.
It is.
There's no perfect formula. It seems like there's a lot of judgment involved.
There is. And that's why Selection Sunday is so exciting.
Right.
You've got all these bracketologists out there making predictions.
Right.
But ultimately, it comes down to those 11 committee members and their deliberations.
Wow. Okay, so once those 68 teams are chosen,
Yeah?
it's time to build those brackets.
Right.
We talked about seeding earlier, but what are some of the strategic implications for teams
Yeah.
based on where they land in that bracket?
Well, think about it from a coach's perspective.
Okay.
If you're a high seed, you're expected to make a deep run.
Right. You're expected to dominate.
Right. You might be tempted to try to cruise through those early rounds.
Yeah.
But that can be a recipe for disaster.
Oh, yeah. You don't want to get caught sleepwalking
Right.
against a lower seed who's playing with nothing to lose.
Exactly.
We've seen those upsets happen time and time again.
A lower seed can come out with a chip on their shoulder, ready to prove everyone wrong.
Right.
They might have a specific game plan tailored to exploit your weaknesses, and suddenly you're in a dogfight.
So even for those top teams, staying focused and respecting every opponent is crucial.
It is.
What about from the perspective of a lower seed?
For a lower seed, it's all about maximizing your opportunity.
Right.
You know, you're likely facing an uphill battle,
Yeah.
so you have to be prepared to play your best game right out of the gate.
I guess you'd also be studying your opponent, looking for any weaknesses you can exploit.
Absolutely, and sometimes being a lower seed can be an advantage.
How so?
You have less pressure, less expectations, so you can play with a certain freedom and take some risks.
It's like they say pressure makes diamonds, but it also bursts pipes.
Ooh, I like that.
So much of March Madness comes down to those mental aspects of the game.
Yeah.
The ability to handle pressure, to stay focused, to rise to the occasion.
You got it. And that's what makes it so compelling.
Right.
It's not just about talent or athleticism. It's about heart grit and the ability to perform under pressure.
Now let's talk about this 2025 format.
Okay.
This document you shared mentions some interesting changes, right?
It does. One of the key changes this year is the location of the Final Four.
Okay.
Instead of being held in a predetermined city, the Final Four will now be awarded to the highest remaining seed after the Elite Eight.
Wait, so the Final Four could potentially be played on a team's home court?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So a bold move,
Wow.
aimed at adding another layer of excitement and unpredictability to the tournament.
Right.
Think about the atmosphere, the energy of of a Final Four game played on a team's home court.
Oh my gosh.
It would be electric.
It would definitely give that team a huge home court advantage.
It would.
Though I bet there will be plenty of debate about whether that's fair.
Oh, there's already been tons of discussion and debate about it.
Yeah.
Some people love the idea, saying it rewards the best teams and adds to the drama.
Mm-hmm.
Others worry it gives an unfair advantage and takes away from the neutral site tradition of a Final Four.
Yeah, it's definitely a controversial change, but one that's sure to shake things up.
It is.
It'll be interesting to see how it plays out, what other changes are in store for 2025.
Another notable change is the introduction of a play-in game for the 8th and 9th seeds in each region.
Okay.
This adds another layer of competition and creates more opportunities for upsets.
Oh, wow. So even those teams that are comfortably in the tournament can't take anything for granted.
Yep.
They could find themselves in a sudden death situation right off the bat.
You're catching on quickly.
Okay.
The format changes are definitely going to make things even more unpredictable.
Yeah.
It's going to be fascinating to see how these changes impact the strategies of coaches.
Right.
And the overall dynamics of the tournament.
I can't wait. But as we're talking about all these changes and strategies and, all this stuff, we can't forget about the human side of March Madness.
Right beyond the brackets and the buzzer beaters, there are stories of triumph and heartbreak.
Absolutely.
Individual brilliance and team unity.
And it's not just the players. Think about the fans.
It's true.
The nail-biting tension, the erupting cheers, the collective agony of a last-second defeat.
March Madness brings people together in a way that few other sporting events can, and that's what we'll explore next.
Okay.
The cultural phenomena that is March Madness.
Buckle up.
It's about to get wild.
Okay, so we've covered the strategies, the selection process, even some of the new wrinkles in this 2025 format.
Right.
But now let's talk about why March Madness is so much more than just a basketball tournament.
It's true. March Madness really does transcend the sport itself.
Right.
It becomes a cultural phenomenon, a shared experience that brings people together from all walks of life.
I mean, think about it. Suddenly, everyone's an expert filling out brackets, talking about upsets, and trash-talking their friends.
Yeah.
Even people who barely know a basketball from a beach ball get caught up in the excitement.
It's like the entire country is on a month-long roller coaster ride of emotions.
Right.
You get the thrill of victory, the agony of defeat, the Cinderella stories, the buzzer beaters, and, of course, the office pool bragging rights.
Oh, don't forget about the office pools.
Yeah.
March Madness is notorious for those.
That's right. Suddenly, everyone's a bracketologist poring over stats and trying to predict those upsets.
Right.
And it's not just about the competition.
Right.
It's a way for people to connect, to bond over a shared experience.
It's true. You see it everywhere in offices, bars, restaurants, even family gatherings.
Yeah.
Everyone's talking about the games, sharing their predictions, and celebrating those Cinderella stories.
And speaking of celebrations, we can't forget about the food.
Oh, the food.
March Madness is practically synonymous with snacks and game day feasts.
Oh, yeah. Pizza wings, nachos, dips, you name it. It's all part of the experience.
It is.
Absolutely. And let's not forget about those iconic mascots.
Oh, yeah.
They bring such an extra layer of entertainment. School spirit to the tournament.
From the high-flying dunks of the Blue Devils Duke to the antics of Butler's Bulldog mascot.
Yeah.
They add a dose of lighthearted fun to the intense competition.
Right.
They're always a crowd favorite, especially for the younger viewers.
And those mascots aren't just entertaining.
Yeah.
They're also big business.
They are.
March Madness merchandise flies off the shelves, jerseys, hats, T-shirts, even those foam fingers.
That's right. The economic impact of this tournament is huge.
I bet.
We're talking billions of dollars in revenue from TV rights, advertising merchandise, and, of course, tourism.
Oh, yeah.
Cities that host the games see a surge in activity, with hotels, restaurants, and local businesses all benefiting from the influx of fans.
It's like a mini economic stimulus package.
It is.
All fueled by the power of college basketball.
The power of college basketball.
But beyond the dollars and cents, I think there's something deeper about why March Madness resonates so much with people.
I agree. It's about the human drama that unfolds on the court.
Yeah.
It's about those moments of triumph and heartbreak.
Yeah.
The individual brilliance of a game-winning shot and the collective effort of a team fighting for a common goal.
It's about the underdog stories, those Cinderella teams that capture our hearts and inspire us to believe that anything is possible.
And it's a reminder that in a world of professional sports where money and endorsements often take center stage, college basketball still has a certain purity to it.
Right. These are student athletes playing for the love of the game, representing their schools and communities with pride.
Yeah.
It's a level of passion and intensity you don't always see in professional sports.
Exactly. And that passion is contagious, drawing us in, making us feel like we're part of something bigger than ourselves.
So you've heard the history, the strategies, the stories, and the sheer cultural impact of March Madness. Now it's your turn to dive in.
Fill out your brackets, gather with friends and family, and get ready for the madness to unfold.
And as you watch those games, remember that it's not just about the wins and losses.
It's about the moments, the memories, the shared experiences that make March Madness one of the most captivating and unforgettable events in sports.
This deep dive has only scratched the surface.
Right.
There's a whole world of March Madness history analysis and stories waiting to be explored. Enjoy the ride.